Welcome back to another episode of Carson's Aquatics. Today we're going to be setting up a brand new aquarium over here at my new house. This right here is the tank we're going to be setting up today. It is the Fluval Flex 15-gallon aquarium. I bought this thing at PetSmart and I bought the matching stand on Amazon. I set that thing up yesterday. I think it took about half an hour. And today we're going to be setting up this tank. And you guys might be wondering, why am I even setting up this tank? Like, who's going in it? The main reason I got this tank is because it's just like awesome. I don't have any tanks this fancy and I just want to own like a really nice tank. You guys can see this thing has like a bowed front, which I think is going to look really cool. It's got completely built-in filtration on the back wall. It's got customizable lights. It's just super nice, and I think I'm going to end up putting the baby convict cichlids in there. They're in a 10-gallon tank right now over at the fish room, and they're getting too big for that tank. And I know this isn't any major upgrade for them. This is only a 15-gallon, but they're only going to be in this tank for a couple weeks, pretty much until we can get their new tank moved and set up over here in the new fish room. Then after that, I don't know what'll go in this tank. Maybe it'll be a betta fish, maybe some shrimp, I don't know. So real quick, go ahead and let me know what you guys want to see in this tank in the future. But with all that being said, I think I've done enough talking. I am super excited to set up this tank. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the unboxing. Alright, so I believe this right here is a mat for the tank to sit on. I'm sure it's optional. I wouldn't imagine that you need to use this, and I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to. Then if we turn the tank around real quick, you can see all the filtration right back here. The water flows into the filter right up here in the top right corner. Then it flows into this middle section, which is this big thing of filter pad, as well as some little filter media in here. Looks like we got some activated carbon for up here, and then some ceramic rings, makes great filter media. So we'll take those out of the bags later. And this right here should be our return pump. Yep, this right here is our pump that's gonna go down there, and then this will screw on to this. And that's pretty nice. We can actually control where our flow goes. Of course, we'll mess with that later. We've got our light remote right here. That is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see it with all these different color lights. But what I'm gonna do next is just get the tank onto the stand, get it set up exactly where it's gonna be, and then we can start messing with all this filtration stuff. And check it out, guys. There it is. That looks sick. I love the shape of the stand, how it goes with like the front of the tank. It's just super modern looking. I've never had anything like it. But now we are gonna go ahead and get the filtration all set up in here. Shouldn't be difficult at all. We just gotta get all the media out of these bags. I'm also gonna rinse everything down. We've got our pump right here. We're gonna put it right down in this slot. Then we're gonna screw in our little output nozzle. And we'll mess with this once we get some water in here. But now I'm gonna go ahead and rinse down all the filter media and put it back in its place.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, this tank is now ready to be scaped. However, I do not have any scaping materials here. So we are gonna need to run over to the fish room. We're gonna pick up a bunch of plants I have over there, maybe some driftwood and some rocks. I wanna use black sand in this tank and I don't think I have any over there. So I guess we're gonna need to go pick some up, and we're gonna get pretty much everything we need to set up this 15-gallon tank. And with that being said, I'll see you guys over at the fish room. Alright guys, here we are in the fish room. I just got done feeding everyone, and now we are gonna grab everything we need to scape our new 15-gallon tank. But before we do that, here's a look at the fish that are going in this 15-gallon tank. My baby convict cichlids. There's KJ right there, aka Killer Jr. He is one of 5 baby convict cichlids that we have. And for anyone that does not know, these were born in my 75-gallon tank from my blood parrot Kobe and my convict cichlid Killer. I am gonna be grabbing all the plants and the driftwood out of this tank. After we move these baby convict cichlids over to the new house, I am taking down this tank. Might eventually set it back up, I don't really know, but we will be grabbing pretty much everything out of there. We're also gonna grab pretty much all the plants out of this 25-gallon tank. And while we're over here, here's a little update on the red-tailed catfish. You can see they got a couple full bellies. I did just feed them a bunch of bloodworms and brine shrimp. These guys are definitely growing. They're still a bit small, obviously, but they are for sure growing. And yeah, we're gonna be grabbing all these plants. A couple of these look real nice, actually. This Anubias nana here, and then I think this is another Anubias nana. And those are both doing great. A couple of the ones in the back are kind of dying, so we probably won't bring those. And then we're also gonna take a couple of these plants, probably just these Anubias over here on this rock. We might even take the whole rock, honestly. I believe this tank is also gonna be taken down once we move the 125 over to the new house. But by then I'll have another tank set up for these guppies. So yeah, we'll honestly probably take all the rocks and even the driftwood. And then I think I said earlier in this video that I was gonna do black sand in this new 15-gallon tank, but I actually changed my mind. I want to do natural colored sand. That's pretty much what I have in all my tanks, and I just like it the best for aquariums. And I actually actually have a full bag of natural colored sand already over here. So we're just gonna take that home. I don't think we're even gonna need to stop at the pet store. But yeah, with all that being said, I'm gonna grab all these plants and all this driftwood and rocks and stuff out of these tanks, and I'll catch up with you guys here in a second. Alrighty guys, we've got all of our plants, driftwood, and rocks here in these buckets. I've also got a little thing of gravel right here. This isn't gonna be the main substrate, obviously, but I think I wanna sprinkle some of this like between the sand and the bigger rocks. I think that'll look real good, and then we've got our bag of sand outside. So we're gonna get all this stuff loaded up into the truck, and I'll see you guys back at home. Alrighty guys, we are back at the house. We've got our scaping materials right here, and we've also got some sand here in this bucket. As you can see, I already rinsed it down, and I also just went ahead and wiped down the inside of the tank with a wet paper towel, and we're ready to start scaping. So the first thing we're gonna do is dump some sand into the tank. Alright, let's see where that gets us. We're gonna stack it up in this back right corner. For whatever reason, there's a filter intake in the bottom left and in the top left. I kind of wish that bottom left one wasn't there, because we got to go real easy on the sand down by it so it doesn't suck up a bunch of sand. But it's whatever, we're just gonna go ahead and stack up the sand in the back right. Alright guys, so now that the sand is in the tank, we're going to start with the hardscape, which is pretty much just the driftwood and rocks and stuff. And I don't really know what I'm gonna do with the hardscape. It's probably gonna take a while. So I'm just gonna set up a time lapse. I'm gonna do the hardscape, and then afterwards I'll let you guys know what I did. Alrighty guys, so I've been working on this hardscape for about 20-25 minutes now, and honestly I'm struggling with it. I don't know what's gonna end up looking good. This is where I'm at so far. I'm sorry the glare is bad. You can literally see me right there. You can see I used some slate rocks down there to form a little wall, and then I also used this big piece of dragonstone and that smaller piece of dragonstone to kind of form a retaining wall for the driftwood. It looks like such a mess right now. I know it's gonna look better when there's water in there and when we get some plants tucked in there too, but I don't wanna go too much further until we fill this tank up, so I can see what it's actually gonna look like. And with that being said, we've got our first bucket of water right here. Let's go ahead and fill this thing up. Alrighty guys, well I'm gonna go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The tank is super murky. It looks absolutely horrible. I'll even go ahead and turn on the light because I did plug it in. Oh wow, even more horrible. Yeah, that's just from the sand, obviously. I mean, I thought I cleaned it good, but I guess not. So I'm gonna call it a night. We're gonna work on this more tomorrow, because I mean, I can't even see in the tank. So we're gonna let this clear up. The sand that I used actually did come with its own water clarifier, and I've used this stuff before. It works amazingly. So this tank should be just about crystal clear in the morning. So we're gonna go ahead and add this to the tank. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did already dechlorinate this water. I used Prime water conditioner, as I always do. So like I said, we are going to continue setting up this tank in the morning. Honestly, I'm not too confident in the scape right now, but I promise this tank will end up looking good. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the morning. Alrighty guys, it is the next day and we are about to finish up scaping our new 15-gallon aquarium. Here's a look at it. As you can see, it completely cleared up overnight. That little water clarifier packet really worked wonders in this tank. It's looking great, and you can see I also threw all the plants in there. That's just because I didn't want them sitting in the bucket overnight. And I literally threw the plants in there, but it looks a lot better than it did before, just having that green in there. So I am super excited to see how this thing turns out once we actually get everything in place. And that is what we are gonna do right now. I think I'm pretty much just gonna scape it and set up a time lapse again. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna be doing to this tank, but I'll let you guys know whenever I'm done. Alrighty guys, well the tank is done, I think. Here's a look at it. I think it looks pretty good, honestly. It kind of looks like a bit of a mess, but this is pretty much the best I could do. And real quick, I'll kind of run through everything that I did. So I did stack up the substrate in the back right corner. I used this huge piece of dragonstone right here to keep it back there. And the driftwood starts in that corner and kind of works its way through the middle of the tank. We've got another piece of dragonstone back there. It's kind of hard to see because the water's still a little bit murky from me stirring it up. But then we've got a slate rock wall right here, and the driftwood kind of falls over over it. And then you can see right over here, I have a little piece of chala wood, and that's also kind of acting as a barrier for the sand. You can see it's a little bit higher back there behind the chala wood. And then I did end up using every single plant that I took over here, and I tucked them into every little crevice I could find. And then to finish it off, I took some gravel and poured it along like those transition points where the rocks meet the sand, stuff like that. I think it blends everything together really well. And yeah, again, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's definitely gonna look a lot better, first of all, when the water clears up, and also when all these plants start to grow into their new spots. I think here in a few months, this tank should look really good. I think all these plants are gonna look overgrown by then, which is exactly what I want for this tank. I honestly barely wanna be able to see the driftwood, the rocks, any of that. I want it to be mainly plants with just like a little peek at the driftwood or something. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the tank down in the comments. Once again, it is for my 5 baby convict cichlids, and we'll probably be moving them over to this tank here in the next couple days. I do want to let the tank run for a little bit. I'm also going to add some beneficial bacteria starter to it. And yeah, here in 2-3 days, the fish should be ready to go in. I'm super excited to see Killer Jr. and the rest of the convicts in this tank, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Today's comment of the day goes out too. And if you want your comment to be the comment of the day in the next video, all you gotta do is drop a comment down below, and that could happen. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.